There are so many books to get rid of that I genuinely cannot hold them all up to show you. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am going to clear out quite a few books from the shelves behind me. These are the bookshelves that are at my parents' house and I don't get to see them quite a lot. But when I came back over the weekend, I had a look at what was on the shelves, books that I'm not going to read, books that I'm not going to reread, books that I've kind of lost interest in reading. The books that I have taken out of these shelves are going to go to a secondhand bookshop in Cork where you get either a cash amount or a gift card for the store. So I am going to probably replace them before I go back to Germany, but these are the ones that are coming off the shelves for now. There's about 30 books to get through and I'm gonna just show them up to you, probably talk a little bit about them, but let's take a look at what they are. First up is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I do not know why I bought this because fantasy isn't really my thing. And when I did read Fangirl, I completely skipped over the Simon and Baz scenes, so I have absolutely no idea why this came with me. Say You're Sorry by Michael Rowbotham is a book that was my dad's. He read it, he said he's not really going to read it again, and he asked me if I would bring it with me to the shop. Pivotal by Nikki Valens was sent to me by the author for a review, and I tried it out. I think it just wasn't my kind of thing, so somebody else is going to love it. It just wasn't the book for me. Carry Me Down by MJ Highland. I think I got this in like a 3 for €15 deal in Eason's a couple of years ago, and I think I'm just not going to pick it up. There isn't really anything about it that's going to entice me into reading it, and I don't even think that this is the kind of genre that I'm going to try and look for again. The Cruelty by Scott Bergstrom is one that I was sent by the publisher Walker, and I don't think it's going to be the thing for me. It seems from the cover and from the blurb to be kind of like a thriller, fantasy kind of thing, and that's not really my vibe. The Cows by Donna Porter. I read it, I think I gave it about 2 stars. I absolutely did not love the book. I hated it a lot more than I loved it, but somebody else out there is going to really enjoy it. Atonement by Ian McEwan. I haven't read it, I haven't seen the film, and I don't really know if this is going to be the kind of thing that I'm going to be interested in, so somebody else is going to really like it. The Extinction Trials by Sam S. Wilson is again a book that I think I picked up with a little bit more trying to get into fantasy, seeing how I would like it, but I just know that it's not my thing, so somebody else is going to really enjoy this. It's just not my kind of book. You Know Me Well by Nina LaCour and David Levithan is a really nice book, and I think it's kind of like a Dash and Lily's book of dares in that there's 2 main characters and kind of flip between the 2 of them, and I really enjoyed it, but I don't think I'm going to pick it up again. This one is Buried in Books, a Reader's Anthology by Julie Rogg. I haven't picked it up. I don't even remember where I got it. It may have been a gift. It may have been something that I just picked up from like an offers table. I don't picture myself picking this up anytime soon. These are 2 Mills and Boon's guide. One is to Growing Old Disgracefully and one is Turning Into Your Mother. These are kind of like those Ladybird books, the Ladybird Guide to Brexit, the Ladybird Guide to the Man. I really enjoyed them, but they're kind of just like books that you flick through once, and I don't think I'm going to pick them up anytime soon again. The Things We Learned When We're Dead by Charlie Laidlaw is kind of like a Wizard of Oz retelling, and I enjoyed it, but again, I don't think it's one that I'm going to hurry to pick back up again. Our Little Cruelties by Liz Nugent is one of her absolute best books. I have already read it, my dad has already read it, my uncle has already read it, and I am kind of firmly of the belief that if you've read a thriller, you know what the outcome is, you know who did it, all of that kind of thing. It's going to take away from the enjoyment if you go back and read it again. So for that instance, I'm going to give it away to somebody else who can discover the story for themselves. Nutshell by Ian McEwan. I think my dad gave this one to me with the intention of me picking it up, and I just have not picked it up at all. So I think somebody else is going to really enjoy this one, just not my kind of thing. Spoken about my kind of distaste for this book several times, but I also have a copy of Red, White and Royal Blue here. I've picked it up, I've tried 30 pages, it's not my kind of thing. Vanishing Acts by Jodi Picoult. I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with Jodi Picoult. Her books are very kind of formulaic in that they all involve kind of like a court case and oh, right from wrong kind of a situation. I think I'm kind of growing weary of that situation that she always puts into her books, so I think it's time to kind of say goodbye to Jodi. The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. Again, as I've said, if I've read a thriller and I know what the outcome is, I don't generally pick them back up again because I already know what's going to happen, and I don't kind of go back and say, oh, I should have seen that the first time I read it, or oh, that was really important, I should have picked up on that. I just kind of take a thriller for what it is and then move on to the next book. Knife by Joe Nesbo is a book that I actually bought my dad for a Christmas present a couple of years ago. He has read it, my uncle has read it, and I don't think I'm going to pick it up. Revenge by Martina Cole is another one of my dad's books. It's not one that I'm going to pick up because I don't really enjoy this kind of genre book, but somebody else out there is going to really love it. Silent by Tori Hayden is a book that was on my shelf for a really long time. I don't remember how it even got onto my shelf. I think I just came into the room last Saturday and it was there. It's not a book that I'm going to rush to pick up, but somebody else might really enjoy it. This Eden by Ed O'Loughlin is a book that I actually have 2 copies of. I have got a copy already in Germany and they sent another copy to me here in Ireland. If I want to pick it up, I'm probably going to go for the one that's in Germany. The One Memory of Flora Banks by Emily Barr was fine. I think I gave it maybe 3 stars at the end. Didn't love it, but also didn't hate it. Needlework by Deirdre Sullivan is a fantastic book, but I definitely think that this is one that needs to be put into the hands of teenagers rather than kept on a 29-year-old woman's bookshelf. Being Miss Nobody by Tamsin Winter is a book that I really resonated with because I think it's about a character who's kind of on the precipice when it comes to social groups. She's very much an outsider. She doesn't really talk to people quite a lot. And I know that there's going to be quite a lot of other teenagers who will feel the exact same thing as I have felt when I was in school. So this is definitely a book that they need to read rather than me keeping. Mistletoe and Murder by Robin Stevens was sent to me as a book prize from a competition that I won in the Ricochet Book Club. I have read none of the other books. I don't know when or if I'm going to get to them, but it doesn't really make sense for me to keep like the 5th or 6th book that's in the series when there's somebody out there who might be collecting it and they see this in the secondhand bookshop for like €4 or €5 and pick it up instantly. Anatomy of a Scandal by Sarah Vaughan is another one of my dad's books and it's just one that I'm not going to go for. Tomorrow When the War Began by John Marsden is one that I was sent by my friend Sarah who lives in Australia. We did a kind of an international book swap maybe 5 or 6 years ago by now. Still haven't picked it up, so I think if I haven't picked it up in 5 years, I'm probably not going to ever get to it. Boy in the Striped Pyjamas by John Boyne is a very hard-hitting book, but I don't agree with a lot of things that John Boyne has said or done in the last couple of years, so somebody else can have this book. Same with Meredith Russo, great book, but I don't really subscribe to her newsletter, so somebody else can pick this one up instead. Daughter by Jane Shemmelt is another thriller book that I read maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Again, if I've read a thriller and I know what the outcome is, I don't generally tend to go back and pick it up again and see what the signs were that I should have picked up on. I think this is one that my dad and my uncle have not read, so I might keep this one separate to the pile and not bring it to Cork just yet. Then we have got 3 books by the same author. We have got Looking for Alaska by John Green, The Fault in Our Stars, and Paper Towns. They were fine, but I'm not really going to pick them back up again. They're very much, read them and enjoyed them, but I think I've outgrown them. This Beautiful Life by Katie Marsh was sent to me for review and it is heartbreakingly beautiful. I really enjoyed this story of a woman who is trying to adopt a child and going through the struggles that that can bring into your life. But this book is very hard-hitting. I don't think I'm going to go pick it back up again. Somewhere by Tom Darling. I haven't picked it up and I think it's been on my shelf for about 3 or 4 years. That's kind of a cut-off point for me to say enough is enough, somebody else will try this, not for me. Same story with the Duloc Chronicles by Marianne Yard. It's been on my shelf for quite some time that I don't think I'm going to go pick it back up. From the cover, it looks kind of like a historical fantasy. That is really not my kind of thing. If you've been on my channel, you'll know that that's a genre that I don't really enjoy reading. So this can go into the hands of somebody who is going to really enjoy it. To Have and to Hold by Corinna McAvoy is lovely, but again, it's not a book that I'm going to reach for anytime soon again. The final book is Becoming Scarlet by Kira Geraghty. I have tried to get into this about 3 or 4 times and it just hasn't really grabbed me. But my aunt has read it and my mom have read it and they both really enjoyed it. So I know that it's going to be a book that somebody else is going to really love. Just probably not for me. There is a big pile on my floor of all of the books that are going to go and find a new home for them to love. Have you gotten rid of any books recently, or are there any books that have been on your shelf for a really long time that you're going to try out? Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.